Peace and God bless.
Right. Got it. Okay, then let's catch up. Then I haven't got that long, my brothers, because I'm in the hotel now here in Turkey, and I've got to sort out some business. I've got to go downstairs and mingle with some people and sort out some business for the future. So I'm on here now just to say yo, 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 and have a quick catch up with you guys and see what we can talk about. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Cool.
Well, I think the topic is about prophecy, and if we see it happening, when do we see it happening, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think?
There's some people say it's happening now because the way how the Most High is moving through different people. But some people say it's what the people who's in power, what they're doing. So it's
okay. Any specifics?
It's like what happened in Turkey. People say that's man-made, or some people say it's natural, but I think it was man-made by the harp or something like this. But then some people say that's work, or I'm not sure.
I don't think it matters whether it's man-made or not. I think the Most High is just saying that this is going to happen. Yeah, doesn't matter if it's if who's behind it or whatever. He's saying this is going to happen, and I think yes, we're right in the middle of it. I'm seeing that the world of Esau is falling, and it's falling pretty fast. We've seen, of course they got their coronavirus thing in, and it worked for, I guess, for many of the unbelievers and the wicked and so on, everyone who took it. It worked in that respect, but everything else they've tried so far or after that hasn't worked. Yeah. They tried bringing monkeypox. Nobody bought it. Yeah. They're trying with this 15-minute cities right now, and they are facing a major backlash. And if I've got anything to do it will be a pretty strong backlash as well.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's not going to stick. And I think the desperation that we're seeing is Esau's world collapsing and then fighting really hard to try and keep it on track.
Right. Interesting.
I think they just launched something in so-called Israel now in the sky. I don't know if you've seen it. It's some kind of like it's like, I don't know, they're trying to say like UFO or something in that region. I saw it earlier a couple of days ago. They launched something.
Where's that?
In Israel. So well.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to mention the UFO part, because us who have been in the, I guess, conspiracy theory world for long enough have been waiting for the fake alien invasion. And we can see it being brought on deck, piece by piece right now. And it's going to be so funny when it comes up, because, again, I don't think anyone's going to buy it.
No.
So yeah, I think it's all coming to pass. I think we are still in. I think it's Genesis 15:14, where it says, that nation shall I judge. So we're still in the judgment of the nations, and I think we've still got a year or two. This is my prediction: a year or two before the second Exodus.
Interesting.
I wonder.
What do you say, Lee?
As it pertains to, like we discussed last time, peace and y'all bless, brothers, and peace and y'all bless to everyone else that's listening. As I've said last time we spoke, as far as David's correct, evil cannot be done in the city or good be done in the city without the Most High. So he's doing it all. He kills, he makes alive. He brings good and he brings evil. So it's the Most High doing it all, and we're never to forget that. As it pertains to it being man-made, etc., like I've said before, Turkey just sit on some major fault lines. It's probably one of the most earthquake-prone nations on the planet. We've seen them have big earthquakes like this before. All of what we're saying, we have seen before. So there's nothing new under the sun, as we know. However, so we just have to wait and see. We've seen wars before. I'm certain those who experienced World War I and II probably felt as though the world was coming to an end at that point. because things were so dire. So we just don't know. The faithful have to remain strong in the most high and wait to see, because we are to bear witnesses. We are witnesses to his words. So a witness sees. So we just have to sit back, continue to keep our faith in the Most High, continue to pray and do all the things that we're supposed to, and bear witness to the words of the prophets.
Yeah.
I kind of agree, because I feel like I'm a witness. I don't feel like I'm involved in all of this stuff. You know, it's like I've got no fear
Around
of
me, yes.
any.
Around
Yeah,
me,
I've got
me personally, no, man. I don't
right.
feel
So
nothing.
there's no fear involved. You know, I can see all this stuff happening. I can see it coming. I'm like, oh, okay, that's coming. Okay. So I do feel like a witness to it. Yeah, it's like detached from it, because maybe this is me. I don't know. As an Israelite, I feel like it's not coming from me.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's well said, because we were told if we're to hold strong in the Most High and walk in His commandments, we are provided His protection, and our enemies will be at peace with us. So therefore, all the troubles that may come to the left and to the right, it will not come nigh unto us in our houses. Uh, and that I can bear witness to that. But at the same time, you have many other people who will swear to goodness that they're at peace and they're at rest, and they've never taken a day off to just shut it down and commit themselves to the Most High. They've never kept the Sabbath day. So if you're constantly on the grind, working, hustling, doing this and that, you really don't even know what peace is, because you've never kept the law. So, many people would claim as though, people of other religions would claim, hey, they're witnesses too. And they are in many ways. But the Most High will show Himself to be exactly who He is, to separate Himself from all the idols of the earth. So once again, we will have to sit, bear witness, and see.
yeah.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
I just got a message from. He said it's coming on.
Who's this?
Vince from Canada.
Okay, really?
That's what he
He
said.
wants to come on.
Yeah, he's coming.
Brother
on.
Dave, are you down in Barbados again?
No, I'm still in St. Lucia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, St. Lucia. Okay, all right.
Yeah, my mum is waving hello to you. I think she's got a crush on
tell her
you.
we said
So.
hello. Tell her we said hello.
All right.
Brother
All
Dawid.
right. Let's say hello.
Shalom.
Okay, yeah, Dawid's son. Yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of excited actually, because I see it coming like a freight train.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like it feels like it's already scripted, and it's like I'm reading a book that I've read before a long time ago. And so every time something new comes up, it's like, okay, I seem to remember that from the last time I read the book, maybe 10 years ago or something. But it feels like it's something I've already experienced in some way, and there is literally no fear in it.
Because back in the day, a lot of people used to read that what the one that put in, like Project Bluebeam.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they want to put that forward now. Because I read it 20 years ago. What they want to do, it's like it's coming to fruition now. What they do with the fake UFOs and different things like that.
Well, I'm not sure I know what to do if I didn't have the Most High right now.
Be confused.
If I didn't have that compass, as it were, of the Most High, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd be running around like a headless chicken right now. But I'm doing lots of stuff, but it's again from the perspective of like a watcher on the wall, or a witness. Yeah. So as a witness, I'm free to help everyone else, because I don't feel I need help at this point.
What you're saying as it pertains to running around like a chicken with his head cut off, the Most High, it's made plain that those who place their trust in these idols and graven images, that they will all go into confusion together. So you're seeing part of this confusion I know of many people that I've had discussions with, and they seem to have a fear that something is happening and something is about to happen. They have no idea what it is. They can't point to it. And I'm finding more so now than ever, brothers that I would have simple conversations with, because, hey, man, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you eat this and that? And I explained to them about the law. Now these brothers are coming up to me, asking me questions pertaining to the law. And this goes for some Gentiles as well, they weren't rejective. They would not reject what I would say when I spoke to them in casual conversations. But now they're taking the time to go listen to some videos, coming back, asking questions and things of the like. And they're much more receptive to that idea that we are Israel and that the Most High is one, and this whole Christianity is nothing but a Roman lie. Now they're beginning to try to, I don't know what I do know. The Most High space is spread upon them. So now those who were, maybe on the fence are beginning to take the time to do some research and ask some questions that they never did before. That's from my perspective, what I'm experiencing.
I would also agree because I do talks, and I've got a couple of talks. One's called the Book of Remembrance, and another one's called Black History, Black Future, Black Past, or something like that. I can't remember, but I give those talks. Turns out mainly to white audiences, and let's say a lot of it isn't flattering. Because I'm talking about who Esau is and what his blessing is, and so on and so on. And obviously it's not flattering, but at the same time, I'm getting a lot of people who get it. It's when I was giving these talks, I'm always there expecting to find a chair coming my way. Yeah, but it never comes. Because people are starting to realize, I believe, that maybe there's more to it than what the Christians have been telling them.
I have something to add to that. The fact that you're keeping the law and you're espousing the Most High's law and that He is one, etc. The fact that you're bringing forth truth, which is righteousness. The law grants us peace. It grants us protection. And at one point, as you were well aware, that whatever it is that we possessed, the heathen would not dare try to attempt to take it. They had a fear for a man of the house of Israel. So my perception is certainly would be that the Most High is shielding you. That's number one. And number two, the Most High has brought those individuals, whether they be of the house of Israel or they be of the nations, to hear what you have to say, because they may be the individuals who are of a contrite spirit. I'm thinking those who are bent on evil and bent on the destruction of the children of Israel will not hear the words of the Most High. I'm thinking those individuals will not even give you the time of day. So it is possible, I feel, that those who are in that audience are those that the Most High has placed His Spirit upon and sent them to you, that a man of Israel may deliver His word. For that is our mission. We are to spread, so to speak, and teach. We are a nation of priests. We are to teach the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts to the nations. And this is why I add often on my channel is that we are expecting righteousness out of unrighteous people. We were sent in the midst of unrighteous people. We failed to do our job as far as bringing forth the Most High's righteousness. So if we, as the teachers of the law, have abandoned our post, we cannot expect to get in the midst of individuals, nations who know not the Most High and know not His law, and expect righteousness out of them. They don't know what it is. So therefore, you being a man of Israel, delivering the law to them, the Most High will guide you and shield you and protect you from your enemies. In fact, I feel that they will have a fear of you. And the word, once delivered, the wrongdoer who hears it and is of a contrite spirit, he becomes fearful, and that fear is what prompts change from wickedness to conversion, from wickedness onto the Most High's righteousness.
And I'll just add a little. Sorry, Delvin. I know you want to jump in there.
No, no.
Just add one more little bit. Is I think also that we are in a time of the confusion of face. Now, I believe, and there's a lot of Israelites out there, mostly the idolaters, but there are a lot of Israelites out there who don't believe the way I do. I believe that we can't just look at somebody and know who they are. I know that that our lineage is through the father's line, and especially in England, there are quite a few people walking around who would identify as white, but they are actually Israel. Now, I know that's not a popular view with a lot of Israelites, but I think I can't tell. I don't know who I'm talking to, so I'm going to treat everybody as Israel, as it were, and those who aren't will show themselves.
Yeah, I'll let Brother Dawid weigh in on this, but I do feel as though with that you are correct to an extent. There are many of us who are running around that are of other people's bloodlines. Uh, Vice versa. However, at the end of the day, our job is to teach the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, first and foremost to the house of Israel. Because if we do not get it as the family who brings forth the law, if we don't teach it and we don't do it, it doesn't matter who else does it. They have not been charged, they have not been given a charge by which to bring forth the light, which is the law. They were not charged to do it. So if we were to, let's say if we made our mission, we're going to just go ahead and just teach the heathen the law. That doesn't change anything, because the Most High state clearly that this is the job of the children of Israel to teach the other nations. And by us walking in these law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, this is how we become the head of the nations like we once were. And this is how we get returned back onto the land that was promised onto our forefathers. So it is imperative that we teach the house of Israel the law first. And as those men begin to raise up like willows by the watercourses, and they begin to teach the law, then the other nations will have a decision to make on whether they will obey it or not. But you're quite correct. There are many Israelites that's looking like you and I that actually are not Israelites. They just look that way. That is why sometimes when I speak to a brother and he's in opposition to the law and may not want to hear it, my first thought is, well, maybe he's not even Israel. But then again, that can't be always accurate, because the Most High did state that we are a stiff-necked people. So you're going to get the resistance either way. But as stated, I would like to make this clear for those who are of the house of Israel and those who are of the nations. If you are of the house of Israel and you reject the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, you're going to die. Simple as that. If you are of the nations and you reject it, as well as if you are of Israel, you're going to die. Those who will take a hold of the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts and walk in them, Israelite or non-Israelite, those will be considered the righteous. And the Most High will protect and guide those individuals, irregardless of their nation.
Okay. Wayne, have you got anything to say?
Dawid, welcome.
Yeah, peace. So hopefully,
sounds like you're coming in from outer space, brother.
Yeah, I don't got the connection. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Nearly.
Yes,
Yeah,
better.
A little bit better?
Yeah.
much better.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to get caught up, man. What's the topic of discussion?
The discussion is when's judgment to
Prophecy.
Prophecy.
the Most High? Is it happening now, or when do you think it will happen?
Oh yeah. Okay, well, yeah. This is why I've started to do weekly lives on Facebook and bring current events, not just in America, but all around the world, so we can show our people without a doubt how the Most High is moving and how He's bringing judgment on the earth to this day. So I definitely am not just of my thoughts, but what I'm seeing the Most High do all over the earth. Without a doubt, we're living in the time of prophecy. But the thing is, though, now that the Most High has given us the forecast, like I like to call it, letting us know what's about to take place as is, before it takes place. Us as a people, what are we going to do about it? I'm a firm believer that the Most High doesn't work for us; He works through us. So, with that being said, we know that we Israel, but what's next? What's our responsibility? Elder Lee, he mentioned the law, and which is the short foundation, the tri-cornerstone. That's what we build upon. But the thing is that we have to build upon that and use the law as our constitutional guideline for us to govern ourselves as a nation. So now is the time, like I said, what do we do about it? Are we going to show the nations how to walk in righteousness, or are we just going to continue just to talk about how to walk in righteousness? Because truth be told, I think that that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting for us to come together. Now, we all know, according to prophecy, that we all won't come together. But those who have like minds, like us on this panel, for the most part, what are we going to do to show the nations, you get what I'm saying? Not just on an individual basis, but as a collective, how to walk in righteousness. You know what I mean? So that's really, the biggest question is what now? Now that we know who we are, we know the law for the most part, we teach the law. Now, what are we going to do as a collective to show these nations how to walk in righteousness so Yah can magnify Himself through us? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm hoping to get, to have that this type of dialogue on this on this Zoom call. As far as prophecy, we know what Yah's doing, we see it. Now, what are we going to do about it as far as His people and His battle axes, as He calls it in the book, that threshing, iron having teeth. What are we going to do about it? So, what needs to be done as far as coming together?
Okay. I just want a little question about one thing you said. You say you have been showing things that show that the prophecies is coming to pass. What would you consider was the strongest evidence so far that you've shown?
The strongest evidence that I've shown, mostly a variety of different things with the Most High doing in the daughter of Babylon. As far as the economic collapse, we know that we're dealing with a serious economic crisis. The Most High, like He talks about in Jeremiah chapter 50 and 51, what He was going to do, He was going to destroy the daughter of Babylon from the inside out. We can all witness that they're dealing with hyperinflation, they're dealing with lack of resources, and that's just going to continue to decrease. Also, on a worldly scale, we see that the Most High, what He's doing in Ukraine, this is building up. Basically, this is the beginning stages of this world war, what they call, quote unquote, World War III, in which the United States will receive the short end of the stick. So those are the type of articles and things that we bring forth. We showing people how the Most High is judging the earth.
Okay. Hi there, Prince Israel.
Brother Yisrrael, you're alive still?
Greetings, brothers. I apologize. That's all I can say, man. All praise to the Most High. I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing. I follow you guys on the YouTube page. I heard Brother Malachi. He said, man, Prince Israel don't come back no more. He's probably gone the way of the heathen. Never. That will never happen. I irrevocably rebuke that. Just been going through some hardships, but the Most High doesn't give us anything we can't handle. It's beautiful. I'm elated to see you guys looking well, and you're all glowing. All praise to the Most High.
All praises to the Most High, brother. Every time we're all do some valley time. I've just gotten out of the valley myself. So, when we're down there, this makes us a stronger and wiser person once we do come out. So you will be all right. You're young. That way, when you become old, you will have some experience to share with those who are younger than you, that you can help strengthen them with your words. So, valley time is never a good time, but it's always a time that adds experience that's necessary for times to come. So you'll be okay.
Sir. Thank
Oh,
you,
and
brother. I
talking.
appreciate the words of wisdom. Apologies. Let me move to somewhere a little bit quieter because I'm actually just wrapped up with one of my clients at work. So, yeah, if you could please bring me up to speed on what you were discussing prior to me
We're
being
just
charged.
talking. We're just talking about prophecy and how we see it, unfolding in the world right now.
Gotcha. Is there anything in particular?
No, just covering anything and everything to do with it. There's one thing I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on. Where I've been talking about prophecy, I've noticed that I've concentrated on the good part, the good side of it. But there is a bad side of it coming. The day of the Lord, the day of vengeance. How does everybody else feel about what do they expect to see in the day of vengeance? Because I just found out something that was a bit weird, should we say?
As for me, as no one is supposed to be seeking that day because it's going to be a day of darkness and not light. The Most High certainly, when we deal with a day of vengeance, the heathen, and those who participate in wickedness, which also will include the children of Israel. The destruction is going to be on a scale that's unimaginable to man. And I personally believe even the righteous will be fearful when that day does arrive. That's why the average man who's shouldn't be wanting this to come. It will be a liberation for the children of Israel, but there's not going to be any type of liberation of us from these nations without destruction. We are to reflect back to the times of Egypt on how we were able to leave Egypt, how we were redeemed from Egypt. Many people died. However, this time it's not just leaving Egypt. That's one nation. Now we're all over the earth. So can you imagine that death on a grand scale? And not only will people of the nations perish, we have to think of the Israelites, just like when we were purging, the Most High was purging the rebels in the wilderness, Korah and them, okay? He will be purging many of us in the process as well. And we all know that we have family members, uncles, aunts, grannies, fathers, mothers, who will not hear this law, who will hang on to the idols and images that they do have, and we're going to have to see them perish, and we'll have to separate ourselves from them because we cannot walk with wickedness and try to hold on to the Most High in righteousness. That will be that great separation, that great divide. So the great and dreadful day is going to be ugly, and this is something that many people, I don't think we can fathom the scale of violence that we will see and bloodshed.
Again, I agree.
Yeah,
oh,
go ahead, brother.
No, after you, you started.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's like I said, it's probably a delay. So we probably just got tied up. But like Elder Lay said, and I'm seeing this often too. Even the situation, what happened in Turkey in the northern part of Syria about the earthquakes, regardless of how it happened, whether it was HARP, whether it was natural, like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's all the Most High. But just seeing Hebrew Israelites, rejoicing over the fall of our enemies. You get what I'm saying? To me, like Elder Lee said, it's not a day that we should be looking forward to. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of death is going to take place, and even the Most High Himself doesn't rejoice in death. A lot of people are rejoicing, thinking that they're automatically safe from what's to come. Individually. So yeah, I just want to chime in on that. People waiting for this destruction to come. You know what I'm saying? In a kind of arrogant way, thinking that they're safe. So I think we all need to be 10 toes down, and we continue to strive. For righteousness on a daily basis. That's all I want to say about that.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to predicting or foreseeing the prophecy, okay, I'm not really concentrating too much on watching that come to pass. I'm in I'm in too much fear of the Most High myself and trying to keep myself together. And also now is a time whereby I have no choice but to speak about the Most High, because these things that are happening are complete and utter wickedness. You know, you got the Grammys, you got these new 50-minute cities. There's so many things, you know, this one world currency. Nothing that's happening right now is for an Israelite man. It's all against us. So for me personally, I don't fear that. We don't watch that, because if I'm watching that to be in fear of that, I'm a fool. I have to watch the Most High, because He will make it right when the time is right for us. Prophecy's coming, yes, but for us to concentrate on that and what's going to happen within it, all we know it's going to be dire, and that's what we have to reiterate to people as much as we can. But as individuals, we got to keep our connection to the Most High, keep our fear to Him. And the ones who are watching this link now, I offer the same advice to them. You know, draw near to the Most High. Now is a time whereby I can't help speaking about the Most High. I can't help speaking about the law, Torah. It's almost second nature to me now with nearly every person I meet, because the way things are moving, it's all against the common man. It's all against the Israelites right now. There's nothing for us. There's nothing good for us. The only good we have is Him. So my fear of Him is what takes precedence right now, and for me to walk as much righteousness as possible, and use and speak to Him when I fall. But my advice to everyone on this talk, and also the ones listening, you know, He's the one we must fear. Whatever's coming is going to come. We ain't going to stop it. It's going to come. So we have to draw near to Him, and He'll put in our pathway who we need to speak to and what we need to do to keep ourselves together. And as you rightly said, Brother Lee, there are going to be our own family members. We're going to think we're nutters. They're going to think we're crazy, you know, but we have to leave them to the Most High and do what we can do to do what we can do. Simple as that. That's what I think anyway.
You know, Brother Devin, let me add to that. I was actually in a Pizza Hut the other day, and, you know, they had a little, I want to say a flag football game on the TV. And I'm looking at it because I've never seen that before. I don't look at TV. And so therefore, within there was some kind of a commercial break or something of the sort. And two men were on this screen, this public place, on the screen in this Pizza Hut kissing. I immediately turned my face in disgust. Now,
dude,
it's going to be proven, like Moshe had told us in the days of old, that our enemies are liars. It's going to be proven that they are anti-Yah and anti His commandments. And if you listen to their rhetoric, if you listen to the things that they do, the things that they say, and the things that they profess, it makes clear that they are anti-Yah. You can't have people stating that someone died for their sins and that there is no law, and then they want to tell you about the Ten Commandments. Those two they don't go together. So what we're seeing now is being proven to us in our face that these Christian nations and these other nations are against the Most High in every way, not some way, in every way.
I agree.
We can make it plain that based on how that they have treated us in an unrighteous manner. And I make it clear all the time. If you look at all of the quote unquote Christian nations, every last one of them, you can go by them from in letter order from A to Z. They are all murderers, killers, and enslavers of God's people, of our people, of the house of Israel. Not some of them, but every last one of them. So we cannot possibly expect righteousness out of them as a collective. Now, anytime one of us do something, we are blamed as a collective. But when we decide to put their wickedness before their face, then they want to all of a sudden get to well, it was just him, and they want to play the individual game. But the Most High didn't say, I'm going to punish that individual. The Most High said, I'm going to punish that nation. Just like He punished us as a nation, He's going to punish the heathen as a nation, as a collective. We all have heard the term, what goes around comes around. So we're being punished for our transgressions. And somehow the heathen is so arrogant, he feels as though the things that he has done that has transgressed the Most High's law, somehow he feels as though there is no judgment for him for what he has done. And so we're seeing now where I just got back from Germany a couple of weeks ago, and I've lived there all my teenage life. I went downtown and there were strangers there. A German, quote unquote, was hard to find. Turkish, Syrians, people from the Horn of Africa, et cetera, et cetera. Just a bunch of immigrants just flooding into Germany. And they're doing it in other aspects of Europe as well. We're seeing the same thing here in America, where a lot of the workplaces are dropping their standards by which to hire a workforce that cannot speak English, does not understand the American culture, so to speak, or the work culture and environment of this nation. And they're lowering the standards by which to hire them. I feel that these are the caterpillars that's coming into these nations, and these people will eat this place inside out. And as it begins to fall, every man is going to flee back onto his own nation, and the place will be bare. So these are just some of the things that I am seeing as it pertains to the judgment, where I'm seeing these people who are claiming to be Christians and going to God's house and all of these other things. These are the very same people, and these are the very same nations that's forcing homosexuality and every manner of wickedness upon the people. And this does not fly unless they can get the children of Israel to buy it. Unfortunately, there are a few of our people that's actually sided up with their enemies, that will sit at their enemy's table and present this poison to our people, whether it be for money, position, or power. But this is where we must stand in the gap, and we must say clearly homosexuality is unacceptable in all its forms, male on male or female on female, and we will not accept this unrighteousness. And we will have to stand firm on that, for the many wickedness that I'm seeing in this nation that's being dictated to the other nations will bring a nation and its people to ruin.
Yeah, they're trying to bring that what's the word? Almost I can't pronounce the word. Homosexual to everywhere. They're trying to bring it to Africa. They're trying to bring it into the Caribbean, but the African presidents are not having it.
Yeah,
they're not having it. They say no, you can't fly here. In Jamaica, it's not having it. It's the people. It's the people what don't want that, and the presidents don't want that. But they're trying to push it.
It's in the UK schools now as well. A lot of the Muslim areas, they're not having it. They've come out in protest against it because they're realizing that their children are being indoctrinated in this terrible wickedness. They're not giving people the choice to what their children are learning. You know, so it's everywhere. It's rife in every aspect, all over the television as well. Even on YouTube. I mean, people don't watch TV these days in the UK, but even on YouTube, it's everywhere, you know. So again, what I was saying before, I can't see us trying to stop that. We can speak out against it, but it's going to happen now. That's what they're going to do now. They're going to throw everything at it. They're going to throw everything at the TV, that they're going to try and get us to be indoctrinated into their system. But it's going to be down to the individual Israelites to say no and speak out against this, and have no fear of doing that as well. Have no fear.
When you speak to people about it, a lot of people agree. Oh, people should express themselves. They don't. I think and then this transgender nonsense. Oh no, it's okay. No, you can't. They've got no sense. They seem like
yeah,
against them. Why you don't accept that?
Well, this is the thing with this nation, that's in control right now. Every time they get control of a population, it ends up this way. Yeah, when they end up controlling Greece, yeah, that's when Greece fell into debauchery. Same with Rome, same with Germany. Yeah, and now we're seeing the this worldwide empire, follow that same pattern. And yes, I think we stand against it individually. You have to make a stand against it. You have to actually say, no, I'm sorry, it's a bloke in a dress. It's not a woman, it's a bloke in a dress, and I'm not going to have nothing to do with it. And again, this is the way we change the world is by changing ourselves. Yeah, not being afraid to be ourselves. Yeah, and stand up against this evil.
Never tolerate
And
it.
we're like, yeah, we're like a ripple.
Yeah,
yeah, we're like a little stone in a pond. Yeah,
man.
Little stone in a pond. We create ripples, and those ripples are felt by everyone else. And anybody who resonates with us will start rippling as well, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah,
my dad used
we
to say,
change it by
every
changing.
mickle make a muckle. Yeah. So every one person we speak to, that could be the person speak to the next person, and so on and so forth. And that's what we have to keep doing. Never ever accept this or turn the blind eye towards it. We have to address it head on and tell people what we think, that it is completely disgusting how the system is right now. And this LGBTQRSTU, whatever the bloody hell you want to call it, and people being calling themselves a they, which is just completely nuts. We can't just allow that to happen and not speak out against it. We have to be forthright and strong in our opinions about it. And that's what I think. I don't think we should turn away from it at all and have no fear of it either. That's what I think.
You know, we're to certainly make plain what our stances are. And, you know, we may speak as individuals, but our backup is always to point them to the Torah. Now, in my experience, I've had people say one thing, and then I will open up that book and read something contrary to what they have said and what they believe, and gave them the book and said, read it. It's at verse such and such. And they have looked me dead in the face and said, I don't want to read that.
No way.
So believe me when I tell you. So sometimes you read the book and they want to know, what book are you reading out of? I'm reading out of the same one you've got. The only thing is you've never read it. And the Most High doesn't allow you to see it by which you can understand it. So what has to happen here, as Brother Dawid had mentioned, as far as us standing up? Well, we stand up one main way is how we stand up. Certainly, we're standing in the gap right now because we're espousing the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We're teaching it, we're espousing it, where most of all, we're living it. But we stand up through separation. We are a nation set apart from all the other nations upon the face of the earth. Irregardless of what the heathen may have told us, that we're worthless, we're this and we're that. We are the apple of the Most High's eye. We are the individuals, we are the family that has been given the ability to espouse the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, precepts. So one way for us to do what we're doing and do it in a manner that's magnifying the Most High, we have to separate ourselves from our deeds, our words, our actions, everything from the heathen. And so therefore we have to take, Brother Dave, we're all grown men here, and we clearly understand what is wickedness and what is righteousness, for we have sought the book of the law. Many have not. Our children, I have two grandsons, and they don't have the ability to discern wickedness from righteousness. And so it is my job to ensure that that information is given to them early. My grandson can barely speak, he's 3. But I'm going to be making all of this plain to him. That way, by the time he gets to elementary school, etc., when they decide to bring this agenda to him, he will clearly understand what is wickedness and what is righteousness, because I stood in the gap and did my job as far as teaching the law. So what we would have to do as a people, we would have to start taking our sons and daughters and pulling them out of the schools of the heathen. We're going to have to start teaching our own children. Now, do understand that during the pandemic here in America, many Israelite women were actually stressed out and didn't want to do their job as far as teaching their children while they were at home. They wanted those kids back in school as quickly as possible, because that freed up their time to go to work and to do everything else. I don't think many of our people consider the damage that's being done to our children when we take our children and hand them over to our enemies to teach them. We need to consider these things, and we're going to be forced to make a separation. There's going to be absolutely no choice in the matter.
Agreed.
Agreed. And I kind of want to just piggyback on where Elder Lee left off. That I think that as a nation, any civilized society or any civilized nation, you get what I'm saying? The men are the caretakers of the women and children. So with that being said, to me, when are the men are going to step up and fight this fight? Because our enemies, like we said, like I think Elder Delvin said, we tell them about what's right. We tell them about what's right. You know what I'm saying? But what do we do as a collective, if possible, to show these people what's right? By us showing these people what's right as a collective, then the Most High, the way I feel is that the Most High will start to, magnify Himself through us, so people can see. This is the example. This is the way to walk in. So, and on top of teaching the law, when are we going to start coming together and performing the law as a collective that nations can see? Like I just said, that's the people. That's the way of the Most High. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's Zechariah, chapter 8 or chapter 9. I believe it's chapter 8, where it says that 10 men are going to take hold of other nations of him that's an Israelite and say, "Take us with you because God is with you." Well, to me, when did that process start? Are we going to continue to see right, or are we going to actually start doing what's right? And that's these nations to be a light to these people so they can see which way to walk in.
Repeat that. Repeat that.
Oh, I'm sorry. My sound was out.
Yeah, it was muddled.
Just the last part.
Yeah, I apologize about that, man. Like I said, I'm having this internet over here in Africa is not the best, but basically I was just saying in a nutshell that, I think they'll be more effective if we actually start to come together as a collective with one mind. Not saying that we agree on everything. I think that's the problem, where we thinking that two walking together lest they be agreed mean that we have to agree on every single thing. As long as we can agree on the foundational principles, the laws, statutes, and commandments, we should be able to build on that, and we should be able to come together to show these nations and not just tell them how to walk in righteousness and just be that example for them. Like I said, the enemy, they're fighting. You know what I mean? They're fighting to keep our children mentally and spiritually blinded and paralyzed. And we need to be the counterpart. We need to be the one to fight to keep our women and children and all those lost souls illuminated to a certain degree. Of course, we know all illumination comes from the Most High, but like I was saying before, being a walking example so they can see. If you realize our people are more of a show me people, they never really get on board until they actually see somebody doing the work. So I just think that, on top of teaching the law, we need to show these people as a collective how to walk in the ways of the Most High.
Brother Dawid, that's why they're going to die. That's plain and simple. These are the rotten figs, so rotten that they cannot be eaten. Those who will seek the Most High will seek Him, and they will find Him. We're doing our job now. There's many people that come to this channel that love to hear the words of the Most High and to hear the perspective of the men that's on this channel, because we're coming from different places upon the earth. And so they gain knowledge, and they're strengthened by these words. So I think we're doing our part right there. But many of these people, those who are accepting of homosexuality, those who will turn their backs on their brother for money, those who will kill their brothers for money, et cetera, if we're going to deal with a tenth that's going to return onto him, that should give you a clear understanding of how many people will not. And that's how many people that's going to die. And it's going to take some dying. When people start dying left and right, then all of a sudden you begin to consider and reconsider your position. I think it's going to take that for many of the Israelites and many of the heathen to realize, oh, this is real. And this is really happening. These people are the people of Israel, and the Most High is doing these things. Let me go into this book and learn and read. It's going to take destruction. Like I've said, I just came from being down in the valley. You get a different perspective when you're down in the valley. So a lot of these nations and some of the men and women of the house of Israel, they're going to have to be taken into that valley for them to be able to see from the vantage point that's necessary for them. And some of them may not get out.
Well, here's part of the problem, though. We, as those who follow the Most High alone, are few and far between. You just look at this panel. Right? We're kind of all over the world. We're just being brought together because there are so few of us. Now, I'd like everyone's thoughts on the idea that we're all going to go into the wilderness together. Us and those we consider idolaters, and then the rebels will be purged from there. I mean, what's everyone's thoughts on say fellowshipping with those who still believe in JC?
I'm not a fan of it.
One at a time.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, brother. I just wanted to follow up quickly on something Brother Dawid and Brother Malachi said with regards to the next generation coming up, and how Brother Malachi said his 3-year-old grandson can barely talk, but he's already implementing the words of Torah and the Most High onto him. Because I truly believe with a lot of the older generation now, they're jaded and they're so far gone, and it's really hard to get through them. But it really does start with the next generation, in which us as Israelites should be implementing that onto our children and letting them understand who they are and who the Most High is, and to obey his laws, statutes, commandments, judgments, and precepts. Although all too often I find now, especially in the West, you have these women who don't really want to be mothers, and they start weighing careers versus motherhood, saying, oh, I don't want to have too many children, or I don't want to be a mother because that's going to get in the way of my career aspirations. What about my career? And I think to myself, what's a greater career than being a mother to your children? Imparting the values of us as Israelites onto our children, instead of letting strangers raise them up in daycare or kindergarten, especially when it's not necessary for them to go out and earn money. I understand in households where income is tight and mom and dad need to work, okay, so be it. But if the husband's providing, the father, the man of the house is providing, I don't see any reason why that's necessary. There's that saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And I find that we've just strayed so far from that now, which is partly responsible for why there's that disconnect in terms of the youth knowing who they are. So that's definitely a problem to address. And I encourage every man to be truly the head of his household in that regard, and just to make sure that we're implementing our way of life, our culture as Israelites onto our children and the youth, because they truly are the next generation. As far as fellowshipping with the followers of JC, Brother Dave, I see that as the lesser evil, almost, in a sense, just because they're in the same book. Sure, they're misguided. Like Brother Kyrie, for instance, right? Thank goodness he knows he's an Israelite, for starters, although he's still caught up in the JC deception. But he's a little bit closer to the truth, I guess. Like, he's getting warmer. And through that, those who are willing to have open dialogue, you can sit down and actually start to peel through facts and fiction. And that's where I have to commend you and Brother Malachi for what you do, all the work on your channels, because I can't sit down and argue with these guys anymore. I realize it's painstaking for me. So I send them a link, and that's my way of planting a seed. And if the Most High touches their heart and they decide to go into your various channels and do the learning, then all praise to the Most High. But if they don't, that's on them. You can't you can only take the horse to the riverside, but you can't force it to drink, right? So yeah, that's what I gotta say about that.
Yeah, because you got the big the groups in America, the Israelites of Christ. It's like they know the Israelites, but they're going back to they're going back full circle. So I don't know if it was being misled on purpose by the leaders.
A lot of those guys, they're there for a reason. They know what they're doing. They're there to mislead Israelites. I say 98% of them. They know what they're doing. So you have to discern as Lee said earlier on, what you can deal with and what you can't deal with. Now, Dave, you mentioned about the when we see these people who love JC, every single one of these JC supporters, a lot of them you have to deal with them individually because they're at different levels. So there's not just one way of dealing with these people. I know Henry's come up with a lot of these people before. When you speak about see them at work, Henry, yes, and we've spoken about that before. A lot of them are at different levels. Some will listen, some won't. But you have to deal with them as individuals. I mean, our two friends who are in is it Wolverhampton, Dave? There's Samantha. Yeah, she's heavily into JC, but she's doing great stuff. But she's heavily into JC, and so I don't really touch on the subject with her and her partner about that. But if the subject matter does come up, I won't refrain from letting her know my feelings on the subject matter. But we have to be prepared to lose some close people if they won't let that go, So that's how I deal with it. Right now, I haven't had much of it in my pathway recently, which is good. But I know that it will come and face me at some point because it always does every so often. But I will deal with it as and when. But there's no one surefire way of dealing with people who are on that tip. You have to deal with them as individuals and see what subject matters come up, whereby you can put forth an Israelite's opinion about that deception. That's what I think.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, as I said, it seems that we're all going to go into the wilderness together. And then there's going to be a separation, a reaping, or was it a purging? Yeah. So we go in together. So I'm just wondering because
the thing is what I think. Some people, they will be purged and they will come good. There are going to be people who won't want to be purged. They won't want to give up their idols. Okay, they want to hold on to them and see how far they can get. We have to be prepared for those people, and that's going to happen. That scenario will happen. It's going to happen quite frequently as well, But all we can do is what we can do with the knowledge we have, and take it from there. But if people are watching this now and wanting to find out how to deal with people who are holding on to the golden calf of JC, it is an individual subject matter. There's not one surefire way of dealing with all of them. You have to deal with them as individuals because they're going to be at different levels of understanding and knowledge, So we have to just keep up our knowledge on what we know and help them as much as we can. And if they want to be helped, they'll be helped. And if they don't want to be helped and they want to get into arguments or whatever else, let them go. Let them go. That's what I think.
The difficult thing when you talk to, especially like that, the Arabs, the Muslims, a lot of them know who we are. They said, "Oh, you was the chosen people, but now it's not you; it's us now." This is what they really think. A lot of them. I've had a discussion with quite a few of them. This is what. Oh, yeah, you was, but because you didn't obey the law. Now we are the chosen people.
Brother Henry, with that's why when people tell you these things, you have to ask them. I would start with the first question: Does the Most High change? And most people know that answer is no. And so for we are forever His people, and therefore He does not change. Neither does His laws. If there is no law, a lack of law equals lawlessness. We're well aware of this, and the Most High is not lawless. So we just have to point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
I often state in my channel, I'm not going to tell you what to think, believe, or feel. I'm going to show you where to look, and you determine with your own eyes what you see. And so therefore we may speak the words, but then we're going to take those words and back it up and say, these are not my words. These are the words of the Most High. And you allow them to read it, if they will read it, because I've had those who would absolutely refuse to read it. As for Brother Prince Yisrrael, it's good to see this young brother back for the simple fact that we are older men, much older than him, at least 10 or 15 years. And the youth is going to be very important in raising the children of Israel up. Certainly the elders have a role to play, but many of the elders are the reasons why we're in the mess that we're in, for they have led the youth astray. And so now, as we see our youth running around killing each other, having babies left and right, selling drugs to each other, disregard for the gray-haired, hoary-haired man, we can only put this blame squarely on the shoulders of the men. For the young men are doing what they saw the elders do. And so our men have to take the responsibility for the fact that the nation is in disarray because we as a collective, the men, have gone astray of the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. A man lead the nation. And so therefore it's going to be incumbent upon our men to do their job in standing up in the gap and being the head of their house. I know many men that are not the head of their house. Their wife will tell them what to do and they will comply. There, to me, a man has a representation of power. And when you have power, you have the ability to provide, you have the ability to protect, and you have the ability to punish. Many of our men, they may provide, they may not protect, and they lack the intestinal fortitude to punish. That may include their children. That may include if their wife went to lay down with another man, they will invite her back into her house, though she is polluted. They will not stand their ground. So the problem that we are having and have had for quite some time is the ability for a man of Israel to stand up and dole out judgment that is punishment for wrongdoing. And until we get back to that, there's going to be people running amok of the law. Young Israel spoke about our women who may choose their careers above their families, above having children, above their husbands, above the Most High, and whatever else. Once again, once you are brought down into the valley, you're allowed to see things from a different perspective. If there's one thing that the pandemic has shown us is that our jobs are not safe. There's no safeguard for that. And many of the things that we thought were so important, when everything was shut down, every man and woman on this planet, we were forced to see what's really important. So therefore, a lot of these women that are taking this stance, it's going to be stripped from them. And that is one way to get their attention. The thing that you're holding on so tight to, the Most High is going to take it away. And that is the one way, the one sure way to make sure that you understand exactly where he's coming from. And that's going to happen to each and every one of us.
Agreed. Well, listen, guys, I got to fly now. You just heard the call there. I've got to disappear. I've got to go downstairs and sort some stuff out. But listen, honestly, it's been a great call. It's been great. We need to do this again, maybe more frequently, because a lot of these people listening and trying to understand this madness we're going through, I think we can help them a lot, you know.
No doubt.
Obviously, Lee and Dave have much more experience than me, much more knowledge than me. You know, people need to hear you guys speak more often. And you also need to be challenged with your opinions on what should be the right thing to do in certain situations. So I think this is really, really important that we get together more, I think, and we have more details of how to deal with, you know, this situation as Israelites in this terrible system. But I'd like to say again, I don't fear this system. I don't fear them. I've got no business about what they want to do. Prophecy is coming. It's all going to be down to the Most High, and He's the one I fear, and I love Him the most. So whatever they want to do, bring it on. I ain't afraid of it. And nobody on this panel should be afraid of that. What we should be doing is doing our best to enlighten other brothers and get together and make sure that they have a depth of understanding on what's happening and how to deal with it as best way they can in their situation.
Let me add this.
Go on.
Let me add this. Brother David mentioned being in the wilderness as we were in the wilderness in the days of old in Egypt. We are in the wilderness right now. We are in the wilderness in the midst of the people. Now, when we think of a wilderness, well, if you're in the wilderness, it's an inhospitable place. It's a dangerous place. There's no place of safety in the wilderness. And this is where we are in the midst of a nation, in the midst of these many nations, in the midst of the heathen. There's no safety here for us. That's why we're terrorized daily by our own people in-house and terrorized by people of the nations outside of our own dwelling places. So the Most High did say that His law will grant us peace.
Well,
and
in the wilderness,
His law is
in
an
the wilderness,
intention.
sorry to cut you there, brother, but in the wilderness, who could the Israelites rely upon? Who gave them the food? Who gave them the manna?
The Most High. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm stating, that the Most High made it plain that his law will grant us peace. And in returning onto the law, this is how we're able to get some type of rest in the midst of the nations. His sanctuary back then was a one place that Moshe would go in and out, and Aaron and Joshua. But his sanctuary, the extension of his mercy that's been given to us, many people may think that we have been forsaken and the Most High has forgotten us and scattered us to these nations. But this is not so. His sanctuary now is his word. So we will find protection in the sanctuary of the law. So therefore, while we're in the midst of these nations getting busted over the head left and right, and we're trying to cry out to the unrighteous for righteousness that we will never get, we are to turn to the one hiding place that we do have, the sanctuary. That is the extension of his mercy unto us. And so therefore, this is why we must turn with the calf of our lips, lift our hands in prayer facing Jerusalem, making our supplication. So our only hiding place, the only place where we will be granted some type of peace and comfort in this wilderness, is encompassing ourselves within that law. And that goes for the house of Israel as well as the stranger.
I gotta go. Respect, Brother Lee, Dawid, Prince,
Peace, brother.
Dave, Henry.
Okay.
We speak again soon, yeah?
Okay.
Take it on.
Peace, brother Delvin.
All right.
Good, brother Delvin. Peace and y'all bless.
Peace and y'all bless. Brothers, I've got about 15 more minutes with you.
Well,
Yes, sir.
again, one of the problems, as I said, is and I hear this from a lot of people I talk to, is that we all feel alone. You know, we don't. You know, we see the idolaters have these massive groups of people. You know, these big platforms and everything, and there are just few of our voices out there. And I do find myself listening to the channels of the idolaters sometimes, which are great until they start bringing in JC, which they always have to somehow shoehorn into their conversation, even though he doesn't fit. But there's one ministry in particular that, you know, they do good work when they talk about prophecy, but again, they feel they have to, you know, bring in JC and fit him in there. It's just there is a keep hearing, I heard myself there. There is a lack of our voices out here. We're one of the only channels out there that's talking about us.
Brother Dave, I'll say this quickly. From my vantage point, from what I can see, it's actually quite the contrary to that. From my vantage point, I'm seeing more channels now. I'm seeing short videos of young brothers like Brother Prince Yisrrael that's actually coming forth, espousing that the Most High is one. Every time I see it, I've got to hit it with a thumbs up because, and like I've said before, I'm seeing more people now that's like, they're asking about that law, asking about the beard, asking about why you eat this, why you keep the Sabbath, how you're able to do this and I can't, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm seeing many of the people that I know had no interest in this. People who are JCs, because that's where I'm living in a Christian nation. So therefore, for the vast majority of our people, they are Christians. Unbeknownst to them, they're enemies unto themselves, enemies unto the Most High, and they are in cahoots with their enemies. But this word is getting out more and more questions are being asked, and more of our people beginning to go into that book and read and understanding clearly that what they have been told can't be found in that book. This Christmas and this Easter, you've been told when you read Leviticus chapter 23, and the Most High lays out his holy days and feast days, it ain't in there. So, but a lot of people have not been told this. So many of them may go into it to read it because they're genuinely interested in learning, but the vast majority of them want to be able to prove you wrong. But either way, when you come across the truth, and if you seek the truth in any form, and it only comes in one form, if you seek the truth, you will find it. For the truth is the Most High. He transcends time. He does not change in the past, the present, or the future. The truth is the only thing that does not change in those three facets of time. So as they look for the Most High, or whether they're not looking for him, they may go in there to prove a brother, or you're wrong and this and that. And then they get a chance to come across the Most High face to face in those words, in that text. And then they're forced to make that great decision. Will you separate yourselves from what you've been doing in times past, or will you pine away and perish in the nations like your forefathers before you?
Well, what I don't understand is that the Israelites, when they go into the Israelites of Christ, they're reading the same books that we're reading. So why it doesn't compute why they don't see what we see?
Well, it's simple. I've committed a lesson to that specific topic because many will say, well, brother, you're reading the same book that I'm reading. And some of them may say, what book is that you're reading? But in the book of Ezekiel, I want to say it's chapter 18. The Most High made it plain that, you know, if you have an idol in your heart, JC or any other idol, and you come before him to inquire of him, he will not be inquired of by you. So it doesn't matter who it is. If you come trying to inquire about the Most High, but you thinking that JC is God and JC died for you and rose up in 3 days and all this other madness, or whomever else you may choose to take a hold of vanity, then the Most High will dismiss you. He will lead you in circles and you will be blind. The law is it's a light and it's a lamp. And a lamp illuminates, allows one to see. So when you entrench yourself in that law, all of a sudden the things that you were not able to see and understand, it becomes very clear to you. But as long as you're walking after idols, the Most High will not allow you to see this. So there's nothing that we can say or do to them. All we can do is point them to the law. Let me show you where the light is. Now, if you want to get out of this dark, walk towards that light. If not, stay in this darkness because I can't help you. Save yourself, O Israel, O Zion. Every man, this is an every man for himself situation. And woman.
You know, how do you shut up the most popular book in history until the time of the end? Yeah, I think it's a masterful stroke. That, you know, if you've got an idol in your heart, you can't read the book. It doesn't make any sense, or, you know, it doesn't tell you the story. But when you wake up to the JC story, you look, or, you know, in my case, never had the JC story. You look at that book and you can read it. It makes sense.
Yes,
yeah. So yeah, I think it's a masterful stroke by the Most High to be able to, you know, shut the book up till the end.
Yeah, that's a perfect and powerful testimony to the Most High's words being true. Because when you read that and then you look around and you see what's happening, it's like, man, it is powerful. It's frightening too. It would make someone say, for me, when I did realize and read this thing and really took a look back at my family's history and the history of our people throughout the earth, that's a frightening thing. That's a whole lot of killing. Slavery is an unpleasant thing. The way to see our young men get gunned down in the street and how our children are treated, etc. This bothers me every time I see it. But this thing is worldwide. And you have to ask yourself, man, is this a coincidence or the Most High is just this powerful to where he's going to take all of these things and put it before your face. That way you may see it, and that way you may know it is him talking to you through these words and also matching up with what you see. And you'd have to be a fool to deny what your eyes are showing you. So these are some things for us to consider while going through what we're going through. Many of our people, you know, they don't want to hear any of this. They don't want to read any of this. Many of our people refuse and can't fathom that we are actually the leaders of the earth, for they have been told otherwise.
I've got to say, on the subject of just topic of coincidences, right? Again, I'm looking at the Most High's words and bringing them into the history that we've grown up with. Okay, so I was looking at the signs in the sky that the Most High said would be for signs and seasons and everything. So I was looking for eclipses. Okay, now I was just, there's been obviously hundreds and hundreds of eclipses throughout the years, and I'm just going through them. And, if you know what synchronicity is, it's when something pops up out at you because there's something about it that relates directly to you, right? And it's speaking directly to you. So I'm looking through all these eclipses and I see one, and I know we're not supposed to be taking it into account, but I see one eclipse that happened on my birthday. So I think, well, maybe that's an eclipse I have to look at. So I look at that eclipse and I find out that this was an eclipse in I might get this wrong, but 1863. I think it was in 1863, there was an eclipse that went across America. And this eclipse went through a certain place, right? We went for a certain path across America. Several months later, on August 21st, and the anniversary of the first slave hitting America, right, was the Nat Turner revolt. And that eclipse, the path of that eclipse went over where Nat Turner started and followed the path that Nat Turner took right to a place called Jerusalem. I believe it's Jerusalem. I think it was Jerusalem, right, where the Nat Turner was heading for, right, to take over an armory, I believe, right. But that's where Nat Turner failed, right. But the Most High said, "No man will save us." So Nat Turner rebellion started. It didn't quite make it to Jerusalem. I don't know if that makes any sense to everybody else, but it brought chills to me when I saw it. And I believe the Most High was telling me something because that eclipse happened on my birthday. Does that make any sense to anybody? I mean,
well, maybe it's to make sense to you, as you know, some things that we may see, and have come to know are for a time to come. So it is certainly something for you to decipher. Others may hear it and it may resonate with them to where the Most High may show them something. So as for me, I don't know which way to go with that, but I'm certainly listening.
Yeah. Well, again, one of these days I will do my Book of Remembrance talk and put it out on the internet. I found so many amazing things, all by coincidence, and and I've forgotten the word I was using, but coincidences, but shouldn't be. Synchronicity, that's the word. Yeah, it's amazing. I had one this week, actually, finding the nature of this world, and the Most High basically led me to watch a film. And I started watching a film at a certain point, and it actually shouted my name to get my attention. The film was
The Good Place, Brother Dave, or is it a
Sorry?
different one? Was that The Good
What's
Place?
that? No, this was a different one.
A different one.
It was, somebody said, go and watch this film, Interstellar. So I went to see the part that was relevant to me. I had the sound turned off because I was looking for a screenshot to take. Had the sound turned off, and I found the right screenshot, but it went by so quickly that I couldn't get it. And so I noticed that Matthew McConaughey in the film, right, he yells something just before this point. So I put the sound up so I could catch it. So when he yelled, I knew when to press the button. So I waited for that moment, and he yelled out Murph, which is my nickname. I'm a Murphy. So it just went Murph, and I went, what? And I missed it again. But I'm saying I'm saying this because it was a synchronicity, because it was a message to me. It sounded like, and what I found in that film was exactly what I needed to find at that moment.
What was that, brother? Because I've seen Interstellar. Murph is his daughter, so I remember, yeah, the scene. Yeah, what were you looking for exactly? What did you find out?
The nature of the place we live in, how the Most High, I believe the Most High created this place, and how I think that, you will never find the edge. You can't find the edge because it goes on to infinity before you get to the edge. And I basically figured out a way how that works in the world. And then somebody said, "Go." It sounds like what Interstellar is saying. So I went to see the film, and there's a portion of the film talking about or showing a 3D construct which has 4 dimensions in it, time and space all together into infinity. I'm going to have to do a video to show what I'm talking about, but yes, I will be doing a video on how I believe the Most High created this universe.
Yes, sir. I look forward to watching it. Brothers, I must apologize that I show up late and I'm leaving somewhat early. I just got some work to attend to over here. It actually has lightened my heart to see you all, and you all looking so well. I just give all praise to the Most High for your lives and for preserving you through the highs and the lows. We must stay steadfast in righteousness. Bless you, brothers. Much love from my end. Peace and y'all bless. I hope we do this a lot sooner than later.
Peace and y'all bless, young brother.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
I think this is this is a natural break as well, because I know Brother Lee's got to go as well. So again, it's been great catching up with you guys. And yes, we do have to arrange this and make sure we get this out, because, as I said, there are very few of our voices out there. I know you, Lee, you said there was more, but
yeah, they're raising up. They're being raised up. I'm seeing them, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing, and but they still need to hear the elder voices as well.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, plus, and the people who's watching, if you subscribe, you'll get the next notification. The people who's watching the channel.
Let's do it. Our brother Benaiah. To those who are listening, Brother Benaiah is actually at work today, so he's not able to make it. However, he's off on Fridays. So 3 Fridays or 2 Fridays, actually 3. 3 Fridays from this one coming, I'll be off on that day. So if we can schedule something, I will certainly send you that exact date, Henry. Yeah. That way we'll have Brother Benaiah on as well. So I'll be hitting him up later on today, letting him know exactly how this chat went. Because he certainly is interested in it, and he actually enjoys being here as well. But unfortunately, at the moment, his job calls.
That's it. Okay, so
yeah, good for me as well. That'd be great.
Okay. Will do, brother. Good. All right.
Dawid.
So take care.
Peace and y'all bless everyone, and remember to remain steadfast in the Most High. Remain steadfast in the Most High. Whether you're on the mountaintop or down in the valley, down low, there are lessons to be learned either way. But sometimes when a man needs to learn something and to see something from a different perspective, he needs to be all the moving parts that he has going, the Most High will cut them off. And that man will be standing alone. That way he can actually focus on what's important. So these things happen, but they all are just to make us better servants and to also heighten our awareness.
Okay.
Indeed. Well said, brother. I firmly agree.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
As a friend
praise God, praise God.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And as a friend said once, better make a choice because the devil owns the fence. So,
yes, sir.
With that,
peace and y'all bless everyone.
Peace and y'all bless. Take care.
Peace and y'all bless.
All right.